I'll call this meeting to order of the Breezy Point City Council. It is December 4th, 2017. First order of business is pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I gotta get you guys, I'm sorry. I'm gonna hurry to get out of here.
The first item on the agenda tonight is the consent calendar. We have the council minutes from November 6th, 2017. We have the approval of claims totaling $283,856.96, which includes electronic check 1956E and paper checks 133927 through 133971 and 133974 through 133989. Is there any item that anybody would like taken off and discussed separately? Councilman Maroney?
No.
Councilman Mitchell?
No.
Councilman Ball?
No.
Councilman Hawkins?
No, sir.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as written.
So moved. Second?
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Our next item is open forum. Anybody that has any business to come before the council may do so at this time and come forward to the microphone, state your name and address, and you can address the council on any topic, whether it's on the agenda or not. Anybody wishing to come to open forum? And I'll close the open forum. And next item of business is life-saving awards, and this is something that I so enjoy doing every year, or every time we have something like this come up. It is my great pleasure to be able to give these awards out because the Breezy Point police force has one of the best, has the best paramedic program in the state, and they've received an award for that last year. And this is just another in the string of these very, very prestigious awards. So at this time, Officer Garcia. It's the duty and honor for the city to give these awards to officers in the line of duty where they have performed outstanding events. And on October 15th, 2017, Officer Joe Garcia responded to Ideal Township on the report of a 32-year-old woman in cardiac arrest. On arrival, Officer Garcia noted CPR in progress and AED applied and no shocks administered. Officer Garcia's interventions included applying the Lucas II automated CPR device, which was paid for with a $15,000 donation from Essentia Foundation, and a IO needle into the patient's right tibia for drug therapy. An intubation tube was put in using the video laryngoscopy, whatever, however pronounce that, as well as the Zoll 12 lead heart monitor. Excuse me. Pulse was restored and the patient was flown to St. Cloud Hospital by Air Care. Ultimately, brain aneurysm had taken the life of Carrie Seeker, but she survived an additional 3 days to become an organ donor. And I'd like to read this letter from her family. It says, "We, the family of Carrie Seeker, would like to thank Officer Garcia for his heroic efforts while responding to our daughter's emergency on October 16th, 2017 at her home in Pequot Lakes. Officer Garcia performed rescue efforts until they were able to airlift our Carrie to the St. Cloud Hospital. Officer Garcia used his talents and equipment to restart her heart and put her on life support. Ultimately, there was nothing anyone could have done to save Carrie, as she suffered a massive brain hemorrhage from a brain aneurysm and was brain dead instantly. Carrie's brain may have died at the house that night, but because of the efforts of Officer Garcia, so many others, her legacy will live on in the lives of others. Carrie was able to be an organ donor as a direct result of Officer Garcia's actions. Carrie's incredible, generous and caring heart will live on in a 52-year-old man. Her kidneys went to save a 39-year-old woman and a 48-year-old woman, and her liver saved a 53-year-old man. Her beautiful eyes allowed someone to see again. Her bone marrow and skin will help numerous people. Her gorgeous red hair was donated to make wigs for children battling cancer. None of this would have been possible without the heroic efforts of Officer Garcia. Thank you so much for taking such great care of our Carrie, and we are eternally grateful for the opportunity to say goodbye to our sweet daughter and sister. We thank you, Officer Garcia, for everything you did and every day from the bottom of our hearts. Sincerely, Peg, Colleen, and Amy Seeker. And here is a life-saving award for you. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. And another pin. And it's our honor to have the family of the Seekers here. And Joe points out that this is a team effort. First responders are usually the very first ones on scene, and then it's the professionals like Joe Garcia that gets there and gets everything in line and gets things going. And we also have the representative from North Ambulance who are in charge of the ambulances and the helicopters to transport the patients. And we, again, just thank you so much for your efforts and everything. We really appreciate it.
I just want to reiterate what the mayor said. I couldn't have done any of this without the three firefighters from Ideal Township Fire Department who were there, Tom and Rob and Doug, and also officers from Pequot Lakes and Cross Lake responded and were such a big help, and of course the ambulance crew from North Ambulance, Dave and Jake. So I really appreciate the Seekers coming. It was a pleasure to meet you, so thank you.
And again, it's the coming together after the fact, after a life-saving event, after a heroic rescue effort to prolong the life of an individual for just a few days, so you can get a little bit more time with them. And this is one of the reasons that Breezy Point has been awarded paramedic honors as the top paramedics in the state. So we just thank you again, Joe. Thank you so much. Officer Rebar.
10 years and you still call me Rebar?
I know. That's okay. Ryber.
Who loves it, Mayor?
Yeah. Well, I first met you about 8 or 9 years ago when you were saving the life of my next-door neighbor.
True story.
Yep. And on October 17th, paramedic officer Jason Ryber responded to a request for assistance at an EMS call in the city of Pequot Lakes involving 52-year-old man in cardiac arrest. On Officer Rebar's arrival, one shock had been delivered by other responders and CPR was in progress. Officer Rebar's interventions included applying the Lucas II automated CPR device purchased with the Essentia Foundation donation, the Zoll 12-lead heart monitor, partially funded with donation from the city of Pequot Lakes. Additional shocks were delivered, and Officer Rybar intubated his airway via a direct laryngoscopy. An IV was inserted into the right jugular vein for drug therapy. A pulse was restored, and the patient was transported to St. Cloud Hospital via air care. The patient fully recovered and left the hospital a few days later. Jason always points out that this is a team effort for all those involved, and since this was in the city of Pequot Lakes, they will be honored there. And again, this, as a team effort, we're dealing with the first responders and the high level of paramedic expertise that is available here in Breezy Point that makes this life-saving efforts possible. So, Jason, I give to you another life-saving award. Thank you. And your pin.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, thank you.
Just to reiterate what the mayor and Officer Garcia has said, I like to point out the fact that because people are volunteers, that doesn't mean they're any less trained. And I like to say that we're proudly served by professional volunteers in this area with, you know, Zone 3, Ideal, Mission Township, Cross Lake, all of the area around here. They train hard, they work hard, and they do a good job. So just because they're volunteer doesn't mean they're not professional, and they do a very good job. And none of this would be possible without the whole group working together as a team. So thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you again. And again, I just have to reiterate, this is a wonderful gift that we've been given here in Breezy Point as professionals and volunteers that maintain the paramedic program like we have today. Just thank you so much. Now moving on to really exciting things. Our budget proposal for 2018. You have a memo from Joe regarding the history and everything involved with the development of the budget, and I'm not going to go through that individually, but at this point I will turn it over to Joe for the budget description and presentation.
All right, we're going to talk a little bit about the 2018 budget. Good. All right, this first slide is a look at our levy for the last 2 years and the proposed levy for 2018. The 2018 levy is proposed to $1,963,482. This is a $75,519 increase, or 4%. The operating budget here is shown with the last 3 years of history as well as the proposed for 2018. 2017 was $2,703,583. For 2018, we're reducing that to $2,283,902. Whoops. The expenditure budget is also shown here with 2 years of history and 2 years of history and the proposed 2018 adopted. 2017 was $2,692,663. We're 2000. My mouse is not working real well. The 2018 adopted or proposed would be $2,270,682. Each year we look at goals and accomplishments and things that we've provided within the finance department, and I'm going to go over just a couple of these. The levy increase is $75,519 as suggested before. This puts our preliminary or proposed levy at 42.862. Last year it was at 42, or this year 42.545. Number 3, the revolving capital fund continues to be used to moderate expenditures and revenues. Right now we've got a balance of $1,660,000 in that fund. Assessment income, number 7. All the assessment income from past improvement projects are earmarked for road improvements. With the payoff, number 8, with payoff of debt, we've been able to reduce our debt service to one instrument. The outstanding balance is now $1,470,000, and it will be paid off in 2024. Number 10, the 2017 road improvements that were done used complete existing funds. There was no debt service involved with that. And number 12, accounts payable have been streamlined with Carrie's assistance in doing a better job with our finance department. This is a pie chart that shows our revenues. You see the largest proportion of revenues are property taxes at 77%. Debt service is at 12%, which is also property taxes. And these make up the difference. We've got a bar chart here for the last 5 years worth of operations. And you can see we're fairly consistent in debt service. Cemetery fund has been fairly consistent. This is an outlier with a transfer in the other revenues. Charges for services are up slightly. Intergovernmental revenues are fairly consistent. Licenses and permits are up quite a bit, mostly due to building permits. And then property taxes, as you can see, have gone up the last couple of years. Whoops. Operating expenditure budget pie chart for the expenditures for 2018 are shown. The largest portion of that is public safety at 35%. It's important to keep in mind that the public safety supports a building as well as has grant funds and other revenues that come in to help support their operations. Public works and other governmental revenues. Sorry, this thing's, there we go. There we go. Other general government and public works at 17%, and administration comes in at 13%. Operating expenditures, you can see the debt service has gone down and is fairly consistent over the last 2 years. Public works is fairly consistent. Public safety has been consistent. This mouse is not working, I'm sorry. Where am I? Planning and zoning is up a little bit from building permit revenues. We've seen a lot of roofing permits this last year and intend on seeing more this next year. And administration is up slightly. So what affects your taxes? Obviously, there's levy amounts that affect your taxes from the school and the county and the school district. Referendums like a school construction would affect that. Market value homestead exclusion is also affecting the values. A $100,000 home would see an exclusion of 28% on the market value. I'm sorry, I'm having issues here. The market value change in your property can increase your values as well. And changes in your taxation and jurisdiction total and classification changes can go as well. Tom, I'm not doing very well here.
You're doing fine.
Well, the mouse is
Yeah.
causing me problems here. Okay. Tax capacity explanation. Minnesota has one of the most complicated tax capacities, tax issues in the union. We start with market values and it's converted to tax capacity. The residential properties, our homestead, are taxed at 1% of the market value, and that's your tax capacity. Commercial properties are over 150,000 are taxed at 2%. The estimated market value of a single-family home with that adjustment goes to $71,760, or your tax capacity is $718. $200,000 residential property then is adjusted to $180,760. Your tax capacity is at $1,803. A commercial property is at $500,000. Tax capacity is $9,250. A $2 million commercial property is at $39,250. So you can see that the commercial properties pay a higher proportion of property taxes than residential properties. Here we look at tax base and taxes. Shows the dynamics between the tax base, tax rates, and taxes. In 2015, the market value was in the city, $397,175,700. That gave us a taxable market value of $377,522,600. That's with the homestead exclusion. The tax capacity then gets dropped down to $3,976,053. That year we had a tax rate of 44.175%. It yielded 1% of that tax rate yielded $39,761. For 2016, it went to $42,493. In 2017, where'd my thing? Okay, we went to $44,436. And then for 2018, it's proposed at $46,612. So you can see how increases in values give us more revenues with regards to taxation. This is a chart, a 10-year chart showing the tax capacity trend. The high was in 2010 at $5,396,414. The low in tax capacity was when the market turned down during the real estate crisis, and that value was at $3,945,459. And since that time, we've seen a slow increase in the tax capacity. We're for 2018, we're at $4,612,710. Here, the next is the tax rate history, and this is somewhat inversely proportional to the tax rate trend. You'll note that the 2008 has the lowest tax rate at 31.41%. 2014 was that bad year in low tax capacity, and the rate that year was 44.39%. For 2018, our rate goes to 42.86%. So then you might ask, well, where do your taxes go? Well, the school district picks up 13% of the property taxes, the city picks up 43%, and the county is at 32%. So what does this mean for Breezy Point? Well, our tax rate went to 42.862% for this next year. We saw an increase of $169,000 worth of additional tax capacity. The city then increased its value by about 3%, its taxable value. The change in tax rates from 2017 to 2018 were 0.4%. So going back to that $100,000 house, we'll see a 2018 projected tax of $307, and that was a 3% or $3 increase, excuse me, from 2017. A $200,000 home would see a tax in 2018 of $772.80 with a change of $7.61. On the contrast with commercial properties, much larger tax amounts. Whoops. There we go. Tax for 2018 is $3,964.74. Change from 2017 to 18 is $39. Sorry. In the $2 million commercial property, the proposed tax for 2018 is $16,823.34, or an increase of $165. So how do we compare with other jurisdictions? Well, you see here, the average city in the state of Minnesota under 2,500 has a tax capacity rate of 72.6%. Region 5 has a average tax capacity rate, average tax of 47.77%. Some cities have a good amount of taxable wealth. Nisswa, Cross Lake, their values are in the neighborhood of 30%. And then there are cities like Ironton and Crosby that have fairly low tax capacity and maybe a lot of things going on. Their rates are over 100. If you look at Breezy Point, we're at 42.846%, which is less than Brainerd and Baxter and very comparable in the middle of the tax range. So with that, I'll conclude my comments and answer any questions the council may have.
So at this point, I'll open it up for the council to ask any clarifying questions to the administrator at this time. Councilman Maroney.
I have none at this time.
Councilman Mitchell.
No.
Councilman Ball.
No.
Buchan.
No, sir.
Okay, so at this point, I will open up the public hearing, and anybody wishing to come forward to the public hearing and ask questions to the administrator regarding the budget can do so at this time. Anybody wishing to come forward for the public hearing? Okay. State your name and address and
Pam Lillahide, 29828 Lakeshore Drive, Breezy Point. Just wondering when this will show up on our, will these be the taxes that we paid this year?
Be the taxes you pay for 2018.
Okay, and so when do we find out what that is?
When your tax statements come out, I don't know exactly when they send them out, to be honest with you, but the proposed rate is what they understand today. Could be adjusted a little bit up or down based on final numbers.
Okay, thanks.
thank you. Anybody else wishing to come forward? At this point, I will close the public hearing, and I will entertain a motion to accept Resolution 1720, accepting the 2018 budget.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Councilman Maroney. Anything further?
No.
Councilman Mitchell.
No. No.
Councilman Ball.
No.
Councilman Bakken.
No.
All those in favor of Resolution 1720, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The 2018 budget and levy is accepted. Next order of business is we have a letter from the Region 5 Economic Development Commission. In January of 2015, you appointed me to represent Crow Wing County municipalities for the Region 5 Development Commission, and my term is expiring, ending January 2018. So we can choose another commissioner if we so desire, or if you would want me to continue on for another 3 years, I am more than willing to do that, unless someone else would like to step up to the plate and say, I would like to serve. Otherwise, I'm more than willing to do that for another 3 years.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Feel railroad?
That's how I got here in the first place.
Who's second?
I think I did.
Okay,
Mike,
Mike,
I think you
okay.
actually have to jump ahead.
well, you've done a good job, Mr. Mayor, and it's appreciated.
It's really eye-opening to see what Region 5 does as far as promoting assistance and grants. They're going to be helping us with, along with NJPA for the comprehensive plan that we have coming up. They just do, the best way to describe it is they do all sorts of stuff. And they are a great resource, and they will find money, they will find resources, they will do all sorts, they'll just bend over backwards to help you out. So, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'm railroaded. So we'll get a letter off to them indicating that I'll be willing to serve for another 3 years. Next thing I have, I was able to attend the tax forfeit land sale on Friday. And I'm glad to announce that we managed to sell 8 lots for a total of $63,738 of tax forfeit properties, which included us recovering little over $3,000 in special assessments. One of the bad things is that Breezy Point has an inordinate number of tax forfeit lots. We have approximately 460 lots that are on the tax forfeit rolls. In perspective, Crow Wing County has a total of about a little over 1,200. So if you just do the math, Breezy Point has about a third of all the tax forfeit properties in Crow Wing County. There must be, well, there probably are several reasons for this as far as how the lots got developed. And some of it also has to do with some of our policies. So as far as the upcoming cycle for our comprehensive plan, I would like primarily our roads committee to look into our policies and procedures regarding minimum maintenance roads and what it takes to improve a minimum maintenance road into at least a gravel road. Talked with Joe a little bit about this in the past, and I think it's time that we could start addressing the subject.